When the pain grows, anything goes. Devil is alive, looking for the prize. That's eternal life, and bringing the things in my mind. Talking real peace of mind, that's something money can't buy.
What's up, YouTube fam? It's your boy KingMarcell, and I'm back with another video. Today we about to talk about just how deep the rabbit hole goes with the Diddy situation and the Epstein situation. I feel like even when the Epstein case happened, they just touched it on the surface level, and I pray that that doesn't happen with this situation. But a lot of people don't know that one of Epstein's ranches actually had a genetics lab underneath it, and that he was running experiments on human DNA. And he was actually saying that if the world had an apocalyptic ending, that he would impregnate 20 women from, I believe, each race to try to preserve the world. So this will start going into the underground tunnels. We know that Epstein was trafficking not only drugs but people as well. I don't know how far this video is going to go, but we're talking about this topic, and you know what I'm saying, it's just a topic that really has to be discussed. They put it in the movies, they put it in everything that we watch because they want us desensitized to it and not understand that these things are actually going on, so that when these things start getting brought up, like the Diddy situation, a lot of people, even though it's coming out, people don't think it's as serious or as big as it is. And it's because of programming that we've watched. We really got to understand that the media that we watch, regardless on what form of entertainment it is, it's all a part of MK Ultra. Once you get down to the background of all of the TV programs and what TV even comes from, or even radio, these were all military programs with psyops used to find ways to control the public, i.e. MK Ultra, which is a mind control program. A lot of people try to say this is a conspiracy theory, but it's a lot of paperwork that's you know what I'm saying, dealing with this topic from the military itself, because it's not, unfortunately, it's not just a conspiracy theory, it's a lot of truth to it. And when we start getting into these underground bases, these underground military facilities, the underground bases that Epstein had, the tunnels under Diddy crib, the tunnels under the Playboy Mansion, we all are going to start to figure out and understand that these tunnels are connected. And they put this stuff in movies the whole time, and it just went over our heads. So we're about to watch this YouTube channel called Mind Unveil, and he's about to talk about how they put this stuff literally in the movie Spy Kids. Make sure you guys like this video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so make sure you guys are subbing up and joining the kingdom. But with that being said, let's get into this video.
Hey guys. So out of nowhere, I randomly watched Spy Kids again. Don't ask me why, it just came up on Hulu. And I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and I forgot how weird this movie is. Like, when I was a kid, I remember loving this movie so much, but I wasn't paying attention to any of the details. I think most people just remember the animated thumb people, and that's what kind of burns into their minds. However, there are some very unsettling things about this movie that I wanted to briefly cover, as it seems to be revealing some secret truths about our world. Now, there are 3 movies, but the second and third are kind of just cash grabs to continue the franchise after the first movie. But
yeah, the first one was the best.
Is the most insane out of all of them.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there are some things to mention about the other movies, but they just don't give me the creeps like the original film. I mean, really think what this movie's about. You have secret government programs with advanced tech, a guy who's mind controlling the youth through his demonic TV show, you have memory wiping, genetic experiments, AI clones, fake virtual worlds, and strangely, human trafficking.
Literally.
And mind you, this is a film made for children. Well, the film starts out where the
It
mother
was
of
made
two
for kids because they wanted, when those kids, when they grew up and things like what's happening with Diddy started happening, in the back of your head, it's like, that's some shit that's in the movie. That's not really, it's not as deep as that. But we literally seeing more and more victims coming forward. In the press conference, they said 3,000 victims have come forward and tried to tell their story. And y'all think it's not more? This stuff is really going on. But the reason why it's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people is because of movies like this. We seen it as a young age. Parents seen it too when they took their children. So it was put in your brain like stuff like this is fantasy. And we don't want to think that we manipulated that easily. But it's sad to say, it's not just that it was this programming. It'd be a whole host of programming that was during this time that was to get that in our head. But it's like for some reason when we hear that we've been manipulated, we want to act like that's not the case. It's crazy.
Telling them a bedtime story about two spy lovers who eventually quit the secret government spy life, fell in love, and had children. We are then shown that this story was actually a true story, and the parents are still very much spies and have advanced tech secretly hidden in their house. They're now trying to live normal lives, but can't escape the spy life fully.
And people that they said in that movie basically that they were actress and an actor, but they was really the spies that they was playing in the movies, like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Are these people really political actors? Look up the definition of what a political actor is, and your mind's gonna be shocked.
Hidden in their house. They're now trying to live normal lives, but can't escape the spy life fully. Now, I know most of you guys are gonna say that I'm overthinking this, but let's see what you think by the end of the video. But one thing I couldn't help but notice is literally within the first 2 minutes of the film, there are like 3 pentagrams in this kid's room. Anyone who knows about set design knows that this is no accident.
Literally.
There are 2 pentagrams that are pointing down that are lit up decorations for the kid's room, and then the mother, while she tells her story, is wearing a shirt with a flower pentagram, and again, the pentagram is facing down. 3 pentagrams facing down is no accident if you ask me. But forgetting that, the movie continues and we find out that another government agent named Donegan has gone missing. So they're taking the kids to school, and this is when the movie begins to get creepy. Junie's watching this show in the car called Floop's Fooglies, and it has major MK Ultra vibes, or it's basically brain rot children content with psychedelic trance-like visuals and these bizarre, distorted, messed up characters that would give most children nightmares. The dad's like, Junie, why do you watch that crap? And he's like, oh, because it's cool. His dad's like, that's all you do, what's wrong with you? And the kid does seem slightly autistic from it and starts mocking his sister. The dad is really concerned about this stuff and calls the creatures hideous when looking at one of Junie's drawings of the creatures. Well, we get some foreshadowing as the dad is watching the show. There's a new character introduced named Dynamite, and the dad is starting to get a little suspicious of this whole thing. So much so that he almost runs over this old lady. This scene is kind of weird too. As he drops off the kids, there's another bully dad that he fantasizes throwing through a window or something. The next scene we're shown Floop's hideout, which is a castle on top of a rock formation shaped like a boot. Basically a hideout on a secret island. We zoom inside, and there's a demonstration being held by a Mr. Lisp, which seems to be a businessman discussing how they pay outrageous amounts of money to inventors to come up with their technologies. So someone is funding this whole operation, and Mr. Floop is one of these investments. Mr. Lisp and his business associates are questioning Mr. Floop's weird inventions and says they wanted an army, but instead their first $1 billion got them these weird creatures which he calls mutated secret agents. It's revealed that Mr. Floop had these agents mutated and brainwiped so that their minds turned to mush, which is literally what MK Ultra set out to do, so that they were programmed for an entirely new function. Interestingly, while this is all happening, the window is made of puzzle pieces and there are a few colored pieces that you can't see through. Are these referencing missing pieces to the puzzle? Floop says he has little use for these mutated agents other than using them as novelties on his children's show. Currently rated number 2 in the world or the United States? Not really clear. But wait, so he's saying that he literally mutated humans, wiped their memory, and then used them as means for entertainment for children around the world? I mean, what? Then Mr. Lisp even says, what the devil? So even the movie makes reference to this whole thing being demonic. But he's curious what the fingermen are for. Well, the thumb-thumbs are apparently his robotic slaves that do his bidding. Now this is where the main premise emerges. Mr. Floop tells him, don't worry, let me show you an amazing power. And everyone's scared to see what it is. Well, it's just a child. But not just any child. This is Mr. Lisp's child, Johnny. And Johnny's running full pace towards him. But instead of hugging his dad, he has super strength and throws his dad on the floor. This child is a clone of his child that was turned into an indistinguishable clone robot.
What the fuck?
So realistic that his father couldn't tell the difference. And Mr. Floop tells him that he designed him, he built him, and that his name is this random number code. But the thing is, how do you just design a realistic robot kid? Well, we find out what's required in a moment. He even has the president's daughter cloned, and Mr. Lisp starts to see how this could be potentially useful. Here's where we learn the secret of the film. Carmen and Junie are not the Spy Kids. Floop explains that he can create the likeness of anyone through physio-electrical imaging, but with the cunning and intelligence of the world's greatest spy agents, all rolled into tiny packages that he calls Spy Kids. This is what the movie is really about.
Right.
Lisp starts to get really mad and says that he has 2 days to make his army, or that they will cut their losses and Mr. Floop's empire will fall apart. Well, now the mother and father are about to go on another mission to find these missing spy agents. He decided to take this assignment because a guy named Devlin called and asked him, which seems like a weird detail to add, and they don't really clarify why this guy's important or why him calling is important. Seems awfully close to devil, but they decide to go to look for these missing agents and just leave their kids with Felix, who ends up being a traitor in the future actually. Their car has a secret submarine, and they're trying to find their location when the TV in their car gets hijacked by Floop's television show. And it's Floop actually saying to the Cortez that they have something that he wants. They try to run away, but then they get kidnapped by this massive underwater submarine. The next scene, Junie is eating breakfast, and they have a cereal too. I mean, who knows what they're putting in this stuff?
Exactly.
And Junie's drawing what Carmen would look like.
And that's what's so scary about it, is that movies like this show that, because when you really understand like the military complex, and these companies and how they work in partnership, this guy is just a brand. Who's to say brands like Nike, brands like Balenciaga, right? You know what I'm saying? Then they name themselves these demonic names that they aren't doing shit like this. Kellogg's, all of these brands that we eat on a constant basis behind closed doors. I forgot what rapper said it. It was a rapper that said that little do people at the label know that the money from the label go to creating bombs. That's getting dropped on children. We don't understand that this money from these kids shows and these TV channels and these little fundraisers that they throw to appease us is really a front for the real purpose, where they taking most of the money, or what the money that they're laundering. And then somebody who on TV posing as something for kids, but meanwhile is into the trafficking, into perpetuating it, just like the rappers, just like some of these children programs. just like a lot of these politicians. But we ignoring it was why. Again, one of the main premise of this movie is brainwashing. They do it right in our face, but because of the brainwashing that's going on, this movie itself is brainwashing. But in the movie, it's telling you how it's brainwashing. But the brainwashing is so good, it's locking in. It's crazy how sophisticated and simple this shit is at the same time. But we have to become aware of these things. We can't keep ignoring this because this is a movie that's been talking about shit that's been going on for hella years, right? And this is a kids movie. Goodness gracious.
An alarm goes off, and keep in mind that the kids have no idea that their parents are really spies. So Felix tries to explain it to them in less than a minute, and they just kind of accept it. Apparently the Thumb-Thumbs are breaking into the house to try to steal the children, but Felix fights them off as the children escape through a hidden exit. They're now in a futuristic boat, being chased by Thumb-Thumbs, and eventually get away by going underwater. This submarine has an AI that autopilots them and is taking them to a safe house somewhere. The next scene, the parents are in an elevator getting everything that they have on them confiscated. When they are led down this hallway and we see those bizarre Fooglies again, which remember are mutated agents and they're being kept in cages. I didn't mention, but they also have these high-pitched voices which make it even more creepy, and the mother even says that they're prisoners. Well, in this hall, there's a stone eye which is monitoring this whole situation, and we get a shot of Floop's monitor room, and one of the screens literally has a pyramid with an eye in it. Like I said, I won't try to overanalyze that kind of stuff, but I mean, come on. Floops is saying that they're running out of time, and the mad scientist says, don't worry, these spies have two weaknesses. They're children, insinuating that that's what they're really after. So the kids arrive to the safe house, and it has advanced tech. This shot stuck in my memory for some reason, as there's a microwave that can turn packets into ready-made food. They also have emergency cash in multiple different currencies, which is a strange detail to add for a children's film. The parents are tied up underground, but they quickly make their escape. They make their way to a virtual room, which displays a realistic virtual simulation of reality, without headsets. So they get put into a fake reality. But they quickly fall through a hole and onto Floop's dinner table where he's been waiting for them. Floop mentions that their children will be joining them soon, and then tells them about what's been happening to the other secret agents. He says that 12 years ago, they were a part of a research team for the OSS attempting to create a synthetic intelligence, a compendium of spy knowledge. Floop says that the OSS destroyed this research, implying they wanted to bury this. Ingrid, the mother, says that if they did that, then it must have been for a good reason. Where Floop agrees, yes, we all have our reasons. We find out that there was someone else on that research team. Well, it was Mr. Cortez, the father. And apparently he knows how to build this AI. And, as a way to bribe him, Floop shows him that they have captured Felix. And in this weird manner, he sculpts a strange alien creature. And then on the screen, we see Felix with an electro-pulse brain cap, literally something from MK Ultra, and he's then turned or mutated into this creature. All Floop can think about is how this will be a great addition to his children's show, and everyone's going to love him just in time for the holiday rush. I mean, that's pretty messed up. But just to make this clear, it was the OSS, or a secret government program, that started this research into creating an artificial intelligent spy. Meaning they were trying to do the same thing Floop is attempting to achieve.
Because that's finna be another thing if it comes out. I don't know how much of the Diddy stuff is that, unless Diddy tells, right? Unless Diddy snitches and they don't get to him before he tells, y'all gonna start understanding, like I just said earlier, the underground military bases are probably connected to these, the Diddy house, the Playboy Mansion, the Getty's Museum, Area 51. It's all working in tandem because And another thing that people got to understand is that most of the secret bases that's on the mainland of the United States isn't ran by the military per se. Well, I mean, it is the military technically, but it's specifically the Navy. But think about that. How is the Navy in charge of all of the military institutions, underground institutions, or the secret bases? How is that? It's because they claim that they're under the ground and not up here. And that gives them impunity, it seems like, to do whatever the hell that they want to. But that's something that's finna be big. In the movie American Gangster, we seen that the U.S. military was bringing in all of the drugs that he used to build his empire. They said that he did what no black man has ever done in 50 years that the mob didn't do. He was bringing in that much cocaine, that like using the military. We need to understand that none of this shit is going on with the drugs in the communities, with the guns in the community, without this government being involved. And we got to ask ourselves why. It's to fund this. Man, I hope y'all peeping, man. But we going to keep talking about this on this channel, man. I'm going to make sure to lock in. Make sure y'all hit that like button.
So now the children, Junie and Carmen, are getting dressed up in their spy gear when some other government agents show up at the safe house to tell the children to listen to their father's last message, which involves the name Floop. Junie refuses to believe that Floop has anything to do with this, but the agent explains to him that the Fooglies are actually government agents who have been mutated and transformed into monsters. And this is even more creepy. She explains that the cute song that the characters sing is actually a secret backwards recording.
Oh yeah.
Message saying that we're trapped. Floop is a madman. Help us, save us. They're literally telling you about real world subliminal messaging.
Literally.
The show contains secret messages explaining that these creatures were all prisoners of the show, and all the children of the world just ate it up. The lady then tells them that Floop is going to do this to their parents unless their father decides to help him develop his request. The agent is asking them, do you guys remember anything? Then Carmen says, the third brain lives. The spy lady gets all excited and says, you're now a spy, Carmen. But where does this third brain live? This is when Junie accidentally flips up a portrait of the parents, and it activates a secret compartment where there's a tiny brain in this contraption. So hold up, is this a real brain? Or is this some type of brain from a homunculus? The agents start to have a sinister, fake vibe, and the agent says search the house. But we find out that these agents are actually working with Floop because the Thumb Thumbs are here. So the lady from the OSS is working with Floop? That means the OSS is involved in this operation to some degree. So the agent takes this tiny brain,
funding it,
which is kind of a robotic tiny brain computer chip thing, maybe merged with a real brain. And the kids finally realize that these agents are actually the bad guys. He tells one of the agents to fly the brain to Floop immediately. And then somehow the kids escape in the most unrealistic way imaginable, and the lady almost gets burned alive. But this is crazy, which ties in with the last video on the channel if you haven't seen it. Remember, the safe house is on a secret island. So when Carmen grabs the jetpack, she escapes through an exit that leads to an underground tunnel. And at first it seems like a quick escape, but no, this is literally an underground tunnel highway that goes for miles with several intersections and roads. These are the secret underground government tunnels that connect different domes around the states. And they actually show that in the movie.
See,
which is
this is what I'm talking about. All of these tunnels that y'all see right here, they lead to prominent oh, it say it right here. They say main tunnels, reported entrances, known caverns, suspected entrances, main tunnels of the secret bases that's all around the United States. I've linked a lot of them, like found out a lot of potential buildings that could be at a lot of these places. Not all of them, because it's a whole bunch of them, and it's a lot more on the other side of the world as well. But when you find out what buildings they are, it's right in our face, y'all, and we have to understand that we can't keep acting blind to this shit. We just literally can't. We can't. We have to start having these conversations. Fuck the color of our skins. Fuck all of that shit right now. We have to understand why all of this stuff is happening. Because look at this. 1 million kids go missing in the United States every year. Not found. Cold cases. And you telling me this ain't it? This is not what's happening.
Insane.
Oh man, this is insane.
Just weird that they would show that with all this.
And they putting it in the movies. Right in our face.
Well, Carmen gets the brain back while almost crashing into tall buildings. And they go through this advertisement sign that shows how popular Floop's Fooglies are. And so this is not just local to the United States. They're in some Hispanic country.
Exactly, see?
Okay, so if you think I've been reaching this whole time, I'd really like to hear you explain this one. After the kids escape from the Thum Thumbs, the next scene is Floop's show, and he's singing.
Wait, what is that? So y'all see this on this bus?
This whole time. I'd really like to hear you explain this one.
Soda. It said the sacrifices of Moochie were part of a complex and elaborate ritual which consisted of capturing prisoners, parading them with nooses around their necks, making offerings, preparing the officiants and the community commemoration of the sacrifice, and presenting the blood to the priest in a chalice.
After the kids escape from the Thum Thumbs, the next scene is
the sacrifice of the devil,
and he's singing a new song, and it's very trippy, but the scary thing about it is the lyrics literally say, "It's a cruel, cruel world, all you little boys and girls, and some mean, nasty people want to have you for their supper."
Whoa.
And as soon as he says this,
I do not remember him saying that shit at all. I'm finna have to go back and rewatch this motherfucking movie. I do not remember him saying that shit. But remember what I be telling y'all on this channel over and over and over again. They are eating them. They are eating us. And how long are we going to allow that to happen? They putting it in the fucking movies. Like, come on, what we talking about right now? Like, what we talking about right now, y'all? Like, it's like,
the scary thing about
fuck.
It is the lyrics literally say, "It's a cruel, cruel world, all you little boys and girls, and some mean, nasty people want to have you for their supper." What?
What?
And as soon as he says this, there's blatant Saturn symbolism, which I'm not going to completely break down.
Wow. Yeah. That's a pagan named Saturn, and it's of a being that's supposed to represent Saturn eating what seems to be a young one.
We also have the eyes everywhere. This is no joke, it's right in our faces. He continues saying, "But if you follow me, you can all be free. Free. You can all be free."
This shit creepy.
On a big TV. If you dream, if you dream. Meaning it's all an illusion. You'll be a trapped slave just like his Fooglies. He continues saying about how the world is nasty, filled with nasty people. While it is revealed he is standing on some type of circus setting, which is interesting considering the clown-like nature or demonic beings dancing in a DMT-like realm.
Right.
As he is singing, it's like Floops realizes how messed up this all is, and we find out that they are in the virtual reality room. So this was a fake reality.
What the fuck?
Then we see the creatures are hanging from strings, but they aren't enjoying it, so it does seem to be a hanged man reference.
Yeah.
And then he says to lock them up. So yeah, this is some messed up symbolism. Right as it zooms out from the set, we're in the monitor room, and again we see the Eye of Providence,
right,
which confirms a lot of our suspicions. Bloop comes in freaking out about what his show is missing, it's missing something that will make his show go #1. The scientist is trying to tell Floop that he's too worried about the TV show when his main focus should be creating this army of robot children. Remember, the real Spy Kids.
Right. They the Spy
They
Kids.
know that Carmen and Junie have escaped, but Floop is surprised to find out that the third brain actually does exist. The scientist suggests that they send 2 robots after them, which we find out are actually their clones. The next shot is of a city called San Diablo, some more devil symbolism. At this point, you have to agree, it's not just coincidence.
Literally.
I mean, that's not even a real city, so obviously it was chosen on purpose. We see a bunch of children playing in a park. Carmen is trying to find the coordinates when the movie makes a reference to one of Robert Rodriguez's other films named Machete with Danny Trejo, which is not a kid's movie at all.
It literally is not.
Assassin. But apparently, he's making an appearance in this movie too.
Yeah, he does.
Not sure why they would make that reference in a kid's movie, but okay. Junie's trying to destroy the brain, which is the right thing to do, but Carmen won't let him because she wants to get their parents back. Carmen goes to get some water when both clones show up to steal the brain. The clones take it and then fly away back to Floop's castle.
Just like that.
But one of the dog tags from Carmen's clone was taken by Junie, and the real Carmen is reading it, and again we find out that those were the real Spy Kids. And apparently there are 500 Spy Kid clones. Remember, the movie's playing this like they're just robots, but they are lifelike clones, so realistic that even Carmen didn't realize that it wasn't her brother. The next shot, Cortez is explaining to the mother what this secret program was all about. He says they had it working, a synthetic intelligence as smart as any spy, and we get a flashback of Gregorio working in this secret lab, and there are more than 3 brains apparently, there's even a 5th brain. The director then realized that this technology was far too powerful, and that if the wrong forces found this technology, it would be a terrible situation. So they were ordered to destroy everything. But interestingly, Cortez for some reason decided not to destroy the brain. So this is basically all his fault.
Right.
The kids then go to Machete's spy shop where Danny comes into the movie, which is actually their uncle. The next shot, Floop is in distress and we see a line of children who are clones of very important politicians' children, like the president, prime minister, etc. This is where things don't really make that much sense. All of a sudden, Floop doesn't want to be a part of this whole creating an army of children thing anymore, and really only cares about his show. But the movie tries to portray this as if he has a change of heart or something, like he's a good guy. Which is dumb. I mean, you literally have a messed up show with slave mutants.
Right, he's a lunatic.
Subliminal messaging. But okay, he doesn't want to create
But they saying like the actors and actresses, they just care about their vanity. They just care about going #1 and having that fulfilled. And the scientists behind closed doors like Epstein and these other guys who be funding these mutilation projects and stuff like that, they nigga, you was just a fucking front anyway. You ain't, because right, he wasn't the real bad guy. It was the fucking scientist dude. Because again, he was the one doing all the mutilations. It's like, this is what's happening. And right now, we looking at Diddy. Right now, they got us focused on all of these other people that's about to come out. But again, we have to understand that. And I'm not saying that they don't need to go down too, but they have just been a front for these other people that's really doing it. That's what we got to realize. Moving forward.
Anymore, I guess. He says his show isn't working because all these ideas belong to the mad scientist, not him. But I guess he still wants to work on the show? It doesn't make that much sense, but now the mad scientist minion gets the brain from clone Carmen and Junie, and he decides he doesn't need Floop anymore, so he locks him up. The kids are still in Machete's spy shop, and this is the guy making all the inventions for agents. But he sells them to both sides, not just the good guys, and he has a photo with Floop strangely, so he's involved with this whole thing. Well, Machete doesn't want to help save his brother and even makes a Cain and Abel reference, so is he Cain? They stack up on spy gear and make their way to Floop's castle and Machete's flying machine. Back at the castle, the scientist minion is creating a replica of the third brain. we see a conveyor belt of these brains being created en masse. And after Carmen and Junie sneak into the castle,
Was that 3D
we get
printer?
another shot of the brains being placed into the clones' heads. And we see a shot with a long line of cloned children on a conveyor belt. I mean, this is really creepy.
Good news.
No,
for
literally,
Indiana.
they showed this shit to us and we was fucking children, Joe. Like knowing what I know now and seeing all of this shit is fucking crazy. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm sitting there trying not to like spaz out, like, but it's like, bro, shit, literally right in our face the whole time. Making it seep in so that now when people see this shit, they think, it's not none of this shit going on for real.
Placed into
This ain't real. But literally they showed you exactly what they're doing.
the clones' heads.
Crazy.
And we see a shot with a long line of cloned children on a conveyor belt. I mean, this is really creepy.
Downey.
Wow, they put another ad. But literally, has that shit not disturbed? It's disturbing. How could y'all make that and not think that that's disturbing? Like, come on, be real.
Carmen and Junie sneak in through some underground tunnels after getting past a thumb-thumb.
Another
They make it
underground
to one of
tunnel.
the main halls, and after placing some small cameras, the Fooglies come in chained together. And Junie uses one of his spy gear to scan the Foogly to see that it's actually a secret agent. Then the next shot is these cloned children being directed down this really creepy hallway with strange art, and they are marching in single file. I barely noticed this, but as Carmen and Junie are witnessing this, there's a sculpture of a hand with an eye. And this is not just overlooking it. This is a legit secret society symbol for both the Freemasons and Oddfellows. And they just so happen to put this sculpture in this shot while these children are marching. Super sus.
Super sus.
So Carmen and
Super
Judy
duper
pretend to be
sus.
clone children to get to another part of the castle. But the clones turn around and stare at them with this really creepy look, as they know they aren't the same. They start screaming intruder, and Carmen and Judy dip.
You said they did.
Well, Carmen falls down to the floor and Judy makes his way to the virtual room. He gets put into this false reality, and Floop starts talking to him as if he was a god. I didn't mention earlier, but there is this detail at the beginning of the film that Junie gets warts. And at first it seems just like a silly, nasty children joke or something. But here in the virtual room, Floop is saying that he gets warts because he sweats all the time and that he's scared. Which seems really weird to bring up. Floop is now trying to play it off as he's the good guy, and that he didn't want anything bad to happen, which is cap for sure. Well, in the next shot, the Cortez's parents are tied up in a lab about to be experimented on, and we find out that Minion, the scientist at Floop's castle, was actually a part of the OSS working on the secret brain project. So there you go, this whole operation was done by someone who worked for the government. Apparently he was kicked out, but still there's no denying the link. But now he's trying to get revenge by turning them into Fooglies. So yeah, he mutates them. Back with Carmen, she falls into a thumb-thumb room. We get to see how the thumb-thumbs are made, which is cool, but it doesn't make too much sense. Like, if you're going to invest in making robots, why do you need to make them thumbs?
Right.
If it's for the show, okay, sure, it's weird. It gets people's attention. But Floop said he didn't want any part of this, yet he greenlit this operation to create all these robots. Now Mr. Lisp is on his way to see this army, and the agent from earlier who burned herself is now here. And this is basically the entire OSS crew, who started their own evil operation. So this is basically the OSS's fault, as they started this project in the first place. Floop is trying to convince Junie that he's the good guy, and Minion is the evil one, while he's kind of praised in the clouds like a god. Okay, but now Floop is a good guy, and he wants to put a stop to all of this, and he just hopes that the world can forgive him. But after Junie says, okay, I'm gonna help you, Floop, he's like, but hold up, what do you think my show needs? So he's still obsessed with having a show for children. They leave the virtual room, and Floop is determined to help now. They make their way to the dungeon, but Junie meets his Foogly that he drew, which is his dad who was mutated into one of these monsters. They free the mom, and Floop says that he might be able to change his dad back because now he's a good guy, and had nothing to do with turning the Fooglies earlier, which is BS because he sculpted them. They were his creations.
Literally.
Mr. Lisp shows up ready to see what they've been working on, but before Minion can do that, Floop announces that there are issues with the robots. So Minion leaves to go see what's going on. Well, Minion finds out that the Cortez family's all there. So what do? Do they handcuff him and arrest him until the authorities arrive? Nope. They put on the brain cap, and then the father sculpts a hideous creature with multiple faces, and then they mutate him. I mean, I get that he deserves it, but it's just like, what the heck? This seems evil. They then leaves the lab, and Floop is saying that we have to hurry up and get to the control room before the army leaves. That they have to hope that the clones haven't been programmed with their missions. So the clone children are literal sleeping agents that were programmed to do something horrible, is all we can assume. But obviously something with world domination. But still, it's like
they would have had to replace the real versions of themselves. How else are they gonna do that?
They make it to the control room, and Floop calls the clones doppelgangers. Now, Floop has to reprogram all the clone children to be good instead of bad. Minion heads back to meet up with Mr. Lisp after being mutated, and he seems perfectly fine with the situation. Now the kids have to face their clones. This is when she mentions the shiitake mushrooms. But as she says this, there is this very strange painting that's hardly visible, but it is super creepy. The parents then show up at the meeting room, and Mr. Cortez knows Mr. Lisp somehow. And again, Mr. Lisp then says that he would love to see a demonstration of those lovely demonic children of yours. All the robots come marching in, and the family's gonna have to fight when Danny decides to come crashing in through the window. Then Lisp gives the clones the order to tear the family limb from limb. But then Floop saves the day by reprogramming them to have some fun. So yay, happy ending. And Floop is telling Junie it's all because of him. Now all of Junie's warts are gone, and during this shot, the TV's playing the news, and it's saying that in multiple countries, there are groups of children performing outstanding acts of charity. Which is weird, so the clones are like superheroes now?
Right.
And what happens to Floop? Well, he still has his show, Floop's Fooglies, but Minion is his Foogly now. And there are also two new characters. Carmen and Junie's clones become characters on the show.
Like what?
Not sure if that's good or bad, as their eyes start glowing, which is extremely creepy for a child show. So then the movie ends with the OSS director, Devlin, getting Carmen and Junie to accept a mission. So wait, the government is actually going to use these kids on a mission?
Literally, like what?
Alright, that's the movie. And now we know the real meaning. Carmen and Junie are not spy kids.
Nope.
They are the children of secret agents who are being exploited by the government to complete missions. The real spy kids is only revealed in the first movie. The artificial clone children beings who are being trafficked are the real spy kids. They have been mentally programmed first for evil and then good by an evil scientist and artist.
What the fuck?
Mutated creatures for their bizarre children's show for mind-controlling children around the world. This entire operation was funded by a large billion-dollar corporation that is looking to create an army of clones for their own evil intentions. And this all started from a secret government program that was looking into creating an artificial intelligence that was capable of being a compendium of spy knowledge. The movie is filled with symbolism and secret references that really makes us question if the writer knows something that the general population's not privy to. Now, I do find it weird that Robert Rodriguez is also responsible for a bunch of other films with adult content. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be able to make kids films, but I'm just saying that he was making some extremely graphic films.
Yeah.
From that and the Spy Kids. It's just something to know. I'm not going to break down the second and third movie, but the second one is basically Dr. Moreau. The government knows about this secret lab where they're creating hybrid animals, And the third movie is about a virtual game that keeps children trapped inside by an evil programmer. They aren't as good as the first one, but still, some interesting subjects are covered. Just nothing as blatant as the first one.
Yeah.
There's also the Netflix show, which is really bad, but it covers a lot of these topics, some even more blatantly than the movies. But yeah, none of it's like the first movie, so I'll just keep it at that. I just wanted to talk about the movie as there are some reviews of it, but I haven't seen a video breaking down how weird it really is and all the occult symbolism in the movie. Let us know if we missed anything or if there's another movie breakdown that you want to see. Thanks for watching, tell a friend about us, and all we can hope is that our minds may be unveiled.
Man. It's just right in our face. It's so blatant. It's crazy. You guys let me know what you guys think. It's more movies like that. Let me know if you guys want more videos like this. I think I am just going to start doing more videos like this because I really want to help open people's mind up to what is really going on and try to break this brainwashing that we all are under. I've been in it too. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we get into this not wanting to look weak or feel weak. We gotta understand we all went through this brainwashing. Not just us here in the United States. Everybody who got a fucking TV in their house. We all been through this brainwashing. But we gotta see things for what they are now. Like for real, we can't keep ignoring these things. So let me know what you guys thought about this video down in the comment section. Do you guys think that, oh, this is just conspiracy theory 101 and I'm the teacher of that motherfucker, or do y'all think it's some truth to it? Let me know down in the comment section. But make sure you guys like this video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so make sure you guys subbing up and joining the kingdom. But with that being said, KingMarcell out. Peace.
When the pain grows, anything goes. Devil is a lie, looking for the prize. That's eternal life, and bringing the things in my mind. Talking real peace of mind, that's something money can't buy.